Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tampa Bay Lightning Throwback 2009 franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we had the 2010 NHL draft and re-sign stage, and we added a pretty good prospect in on the defensive front that had medium elite potential, but there is that but. We are probably going to be trading him in this episode because of the fact that he probably won't make it before the end of the series because the series is very short. So I am probably going to be flipping him away to hopefully bolster up our team and give us a good chance at potentially getting ourselves to the playoffs and furthered in the first round this year. Because you can see at the moment, this is what our roster looks like, which is not really that terrible. We have like St. Louis, Le Cavalier still, but obviously St. Louis should be dropping off soon. Le Cavalier would be in a few years probably. Prospol should be on the decline. So we have a lot of older type veterans, and we have also a young Stamkos in our top six. So we kind of need to bring in another player to maybe help out Stamkos on that second line, because Stamkos has been not necessarily the best player so far in the series. As you can see, only 82 points in 164 games, and he didn't do anything for us in the playoffs. So I am going to be bringing in a left winger to hopefully help him out and bring him some more offensive opportunities so he could develop into that player he actually should be. But anyways, before we get into that, I do have one comment to go over, and that's from LeafsFan161, who says, is Nail Yakubov in the 2012 draft class? I think it would be really cool if a team drafted him and could make his career a success, unlike real life. And no, for at least for NHL 23 wise, I will not be adding prospects like that into drafts. But for NHL 24, obviously with the player limit going up on next gen consoles, I will be adding a ton of players into my throwback rosters. I won't be doing it Nail Yakubov year almost though. I will be doing 99 2000 and likely 92 93, so we won't get to seeing players like Nail Yakubov in a franchise mode likely for NHL 24, but we will be getting a lot more depth in the mode, which will make it very, very exciting. But anyways, that was the one comment I got in last episode. So let's go ahead and do our due diligence this offseason. And then hopefully we have a pretty good looking team to start next season. We'll probably have almost a too good looking team in a sense. Like it's going to be a little bit unrealistic, but I honestly don't really give a crap. I just want to win ourselves the Stanley Cup or get ourselves very far, at least in a playoff run. So you guys could experience this roster a little bit more than at least one playoff round matchup pretty much. So let's go first to our free agent signing, because we are going to make one free agent signing to help out our defensive core, and that is going to be a right-handed defenseman, because we do need one more right-handed defenseman. We currently have like, I think it's 4 left-handers, or yeah, it might be 4 left-handers and 2 right-handers. So I am going to be bringing in Kevin Klein as our other right-handed defenseman. He's more of just a stay-at-home guy, so it's like, might as well. I was leaning towards maybe bringing in Dan Girardi, but the player we're going to be trading for would make us over the salary cap if we were to bring in Girardi. So to be a bit more smart about this, we're bringing in somebody of the same age, but more of a shutdown guy, and he's also making way less money. So Kevin Klein will be our signing, and I will give him only a 1-year deal just to play it safe, because obviously with St. Louis' contract being up at the end of the season, if we are to do one more season, I want to make sure I'm able to re-sign him, because it would kind of suck to let him go. So Kevin Klein, that is good. And then our big trade that we are going to be making is for a guy who signed with the New York Islanders in the offseason. I believe it was last offseason. That being left winger Alex Tanguay. So Tanguay used to actually play for Tampa Bay at one point in time in real life, but Alex Tanguay is the playmaker we need next to Stamkos. As you can see, the passing stats absolutely ridiculous. 1 year with Montreal, he was more of a hybrid production player. Then he goes to the Islanders, and he's just a pure passer. Really good on the power play as well, and had really good success in the playoffs as well. So I think he would be a great addition to this team. Obviously, he is on a contract that is for more than 1 year, which is a bit risky with, like I said, St. Louis being up for renewal. But I'm hoping that I could shed, like, say, Ryan Malone's cap hit in the offseason, or maybe if we need to, we could get rid of Tanguay again. But honestly, I would like to hold on to him if we can. So basically, the trade, though, that we're going to be making, there's multiple offers. So this first one, Niskanen, a third and Downey, doesn't make sense for us because we're obviously not trying to get rid of our defensemen. This next one, Mazeros and Carson, doesn't really make sense because, once again, I'm not trying to get rid of defensemen. This is the one that we're going to be likely making here. It is Helmer, who we literally just drafted a medium elite prospect. Normally, I wouldn't be doing this in this type of franchise mode, but since it's a very short series, I think it makes sense for us because Helmer will not pan out before the series ends. There's no chance that he jumps up to like an 80 overall after 2 seasons or a season. And then we also give up 2 6th-round picks. So this is the one we're going to be making. But I could give up our first rounder for a future year, but I think that's a bit of a risk. This one, at least we know that Helmer probably won't be ready before the series ends, and it gives them a good prospect into the system as well. So this is the one we are going to be making for Alex Tanguay. It's a bit of a steep price point for Alex Tanguay, but for that production, I could see why. And since he's 31, he shouldn't be regressing yet, which is good. So we'll likely play him on the left wing next to Stamkos, and also probably next to somebody like Brian Gionta. And then Ryan Malone might be demoted to the third line. So let's see. This should go through. We are giving him a lot more value, though, which is a bit of a risk. But let's just see if it will go through for sure. But let's just do it anyways. We need to bring in somebody to help out Stamkos, and I hope that Tanguay could be that guy. So there you go. Was a pretty big trade. I think that helps us out right now, and that's what we're trying to go for, because now, if we look at our top 6 forwards, we have St. Louis, LeCavalier, Prospol as the top line. Stamkos, Tanguay, Gionta is the second line. Malone being a third liner is a very expensive third liner, so I still wouldn't mind me moving Malone at some point, but he's likely going to be playing with Marcel Gottsch and probably Thomas Kopecky, and then fourth line wise we'd have like Hall, Pettinger, and Downey, so like more of a grit fourth line. We don't really have that much depth forwards, but Martin Carsons will probably be in that spot again, and then we could always sign another depth forward, but I don't really know about that. So let's advance a few days and see if we get Klein in for the defensive core, and if we have the cap space, maybe I'll sign ourselves a depth forward, because we do already have a depth defenseman, which is good, and that would be Adam Party. But yeah, it should be an exciting season ahead with that addition. There's Klein accepting, which is huge. And now we should find ourselves a depth forward. One more depth forward to go with Martin Carsons, because we have the cap space, so might as well. We'll probably look for a center that's a depth guy. If we had cap space, I would have went for Mark Savard instead of Tanguay, because Mark Savard's great. But yeah, I don't know if I have him having like low durability or not. For depth forwards, we could. No, I'm not going for Andrew Ebbett. 2.7 is a bit outrageous. Trying to find a cheap depth option. Here's one, actually. Marc-Antoine Pouliot. He actually played for Tampa as well in real life. So, hey, we'll bring you in, Marc-Antoine. He's your UFA. Only 1.4. It eats up a big chunk of our cap space. But honestly, you get to play right below the cap to be probably a good team in this type of series. So, Pouliot will be one of our depth options alongside Martin Carsons, and then it should be a fun season ahead for this team. There you go. Okay, so let's advance to the end of July, and we'll take a look at the free agent signings for 2010 so far. We won't take a look at August signings, because August is usually the depth type of guys, enforcers. We'll also take a look if there's any off-season trades, and then we will sim up to the start of 2010-11. Which probably will be our last season of this franchise mode, likely, unless we don't go super far. Then we might have time for one more season. We will see. We're getting a lot of trade offers, but I'm just rejecting them all, because for some reason they're trying to trade for players on my roster. This is a funny one. Oh, I know, actually, no, he was already on Dallas. I was thinking of Pettinger, but Pettinger and Southerby used to be teammates in Washington, but we're not trying to trade for any players right now. And I do not need Cristobal Huet. Technically, the goaltending combination on our team is the biggest problem maybe with our team. But at the same time, I'm going to see if it works good. And if it works good, maybe it'll be not too bad. So let's take a look at those free agent signings. See if any former players signed with teams that they actually played for. Or any players in general signed with teams that they used to play for. So let's first take a look at trades. So there has been quite a few trades this offseason. So I believe that is Randy Jones getting dealt with Brian Southerby to San Jose for a second and a third. And then there was our trade. And also Brad Lukowich was dealt from San Jose to Calgary. So there's the trade so far this offseason. Signing-wise, Matt Cook signed with the Wild. He played there, obviously, IRL. Mark Recchi to Anaheim, which is a bit weird. Won't read them all out, but if you guys see anything that's really intriguing, let me know. Korpikoski re-signed with the Rangers. I don't think he was actually not on the Rangers, so heads up on that front. Brendan Shanahan also goes to Anaheim. Anaheim signed a lot of players this offseason, it looks like. Let's see, anything really cool. that happened this offseason, because there was a lot of good free agents. Halak re-signed in Montreal, which is kind of a surprise considering they have Carey Price already. What else we got here? Shane O'Brien was already in Vancouver, I think. Darcy Tucker going to Atlanta. Okay. Ponikarovsky to San Jose. A lot of enforcers actually were signing, which is kind of neat. Let's see. Looking for the coolest signing yet, which I don't really see one. Dan Ellis going to Carolina. I think he played there in real life for a brief bit. Anything else? Paul Kariya signs in Montreal on a 2-year deal. That's kind of gross. Not going to lie. I mean, he is dropping off, but still. Aaron Johnson goes to Ottawa. He played for Ottawa's AHL team at one point. And Jesse Winchester signs in Florida, which he played for, I believe, near the end of his career. Heavy Bullen re-signs in Toronto on a 1-year deal after winning that Stanley Cup. Doug Wade to Montreal as well, near the end of his career. Cam Ward signs a 5-year deal in San Jose. That's an interesting one. Okay. Miroslav Shatan going back to the New York Islanders. I think he was on Pittsburgh in this series at the beginning, so I think he flipped back to the team he used to play for. Just kind of funny. Anything else to note? Afanaganov to the Islanders. Yeah, the Islanders always sign a lot of good players, it seems like. Antti Niemi to LA. Volchenkov to Florida. Dan Girardi signs in San Jose. Kyle Wellwood goes back to the Leafs. That's actually kind of funny because he started, I think, in Vancouver in this series, so that's kind of neat. Devin Dubik resigns in Edmonton. Jose Theodore to the Rangers. Todd Bertuzzi to Colorado. He knocked Steve Moore out, who used to play for Colorado, obviously, so that's a little bit of controversial signing there. Marty Turco to the Blues. Kind of weird. Mike Medano signs in Montreal after his stint in Chicago in this. Saku Koivu and Joffrey Lupul to the Islanders as well. So yeah, the Islanders are just loading up. LA signs Vesa Toskala. Anything else? Stefan Yell goes to Ottawa, which I believe he's actually from Ottawa, which is kind of neat. Frolov signs in Toronto on a 5-year deal. Geez, Toronto's loading up again. They're doing better than IRL at this point. Yuri Letnin signs in Phoenix. Svato signs in Toronto again. Bobby Ryan signs a 1-year deal to remain a Duck. Anything else? Boyd Gordon goes to Edmonton early. Jonas Hiller goes to Carolina on a 5-year deal. And Bakov signs in Detroit. Yes. Yes. It's real. Because in IRL, he signed with the Detroit Red Wings. Never played a game with them. And then he signed with the Islanders the year afterwards, I'm pretty certain. So, and I think it was right around this point in time. So that's actually really, really cool. Anything else? Damn, there was a lot of signings. Thomas Buchanan to New Jersey. Wasn't expecting this much signings. David Clarkson to Pittsburgh. Detroit signed Scott Niedermayer. That is really weird. That is really weird. Paul Martin, Ottawa. Not the former Prime Minister. Andrew Ladd to Columbus, who recently retired IRL. Zelensky to Montreal. Kessler gets a 6-year deal with Anaheim, so after he leaves the Canucks, he does go to Anaheim like IRL, which is cool. Jonathan Quick re-signs in LA on a 6-year deal. Pavelski signs a 6-year deal in Nashville. Duncan Keith gets a 7-year deal with the Buffalo Sabres. Well, there you go, Buffalo. And Luongo goes to Anaheim on a 4-year deal. Jeez. So Anaheim getting Kessler and Luongo. Colorado gets Lombardi. LA gets Alex Semin on a 7-year deal. Rick Nash gets a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Thrashers. Price resigns in Montreal. And I think that's almost it finally. What a crazy offseason. There we go. So a lot of movement between players and teams. Let's ignore the rest of this and go to the start of the season, because I don't want this episode being crazy long, but it might end up being, because we do got to simulate a bit. We also got to make sure our lines are set up to go for the season as well, because we want to have the best looking team possible. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit weird having Ryan Malone as a third liner for now. But if we have another season after this, we'll probably have to flip him away to save some cap space a bit. Because, yeah, obviously St. Louis being up for renewal, I don't want to lose that guy. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to flip it like that. Perfect, almost. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. And then third line, Malone. Marcel Gotch, actually, I do like up there. Decent amount. We could go with Downey down there instead. Adam Hall's technically not a centerman, but he has great face-off statistics from his career, so that's why he's going to be taking face-offs down there and why he has quick draw. So yeah, that's going to be our roster on offense. That looks really good. Prospero, Cavalier, St. Louis, Tanguay, Stamkos, Gionta. So if Stamkos does not produce this year, it is a major problem, but I obviously will be re-signing him. Third line is Malone, Gotch, Kopecky, and a fourth line of Pettinger, Hall, and Downey. Defensively, we got Mazeros, Niskanen, Krejcek, and Foster, and then Klein and Vanden. Goalie-wise, we got Smith and Anderson, and depth-wise, we got Party and Pouliot. I could leave Carson's in the AHL for now, which I think I'm going to do. He actually is listed as a fourth liner, so maybe I'll call him up. Oh, I thought it was Alex Turcotte for a second. Okay, I'm going to call up Carson's just as the other depth option. But yeah, our team's looking good. And hopefully Stamkos shows me what he's made of this year. Because if he doesn't, that's where we're going to get into a little bit problematic territory with him. But hopefully he eclipses those 40 points that he's been putting up before. And power play wise, do I need to put him on the power play? No, he's on the second unit. So he's not going to be getting first line power play time, but that's okay for now. I think the first line power play looks really good already, so we'll leave it like that. So there's our team. And yeah, hopefully Gianna and Stamkos have really good seasons next to Tanguay, because Tanguay should help out that depth scoring quite a bit with this team. And in AHL-wise, we don't really have much. We only have Lance Walls because we traded our defensive prospect. And we do still have Ramo down there in Hellenius, so if we need a goalie because of an injury, we can call up Kari Ramo. So there we go. We are ready for another season here in Tampa Bay. I don't know how good this team is going to be, but it should be a pretty solid team, I would assume. This year's draft class has the likes of Nikita Kucherov, though, which is pretty crazy. So technically we would have wanted a tank maybe for Kucherov, but Landeskog as well as in this draft. Huberdeau, Nugent Hopkins, Johnny Gaudreau, Mika Zibanejad, Mark Scheifele, Dougie Hamilton. It's a good draft class, at least early on. I don't know if I think it probably drops off after that. Goalie-wise, you have like Gibson, Binnington, Anton Forsberg, Laurent Brossoit. So there's some pretty solid names. But there's that. Let's get into simulating some of the season. I want to go to the halfway point if possible. But if this episode's too long, maybe we'll stop it a little bit before then. But we're pretty good on time right now, I think. As long as this team doesn't give me any problems, really. So how are we going to do in the preseason? We only have 4 games in preseason, which is a bit weird. But we win all 4 games. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. 9 points in 4 games for St. Louis. St. Louis might go off this year since he's in the last year of his contract. What is he trying to get right now? Oh, I can't even sign him right now. I can't even sign him right now. I probably have to wait till the start of the season. What is Stamkos wanting? I actually can't check that either. I'll probably check at the start of the season, see what those guys are asking for. Not that we're even going to get to probably next season anyways, but we'll see. So yeah, we should have a very good offensive season. And defensively, I think our defensive core looks good. Goaltending combination looks solid. So hopefully we have a good season ahead of us. Let me see if I could offer those contracts now. Let's see. St. Louis. No, I cannot. I probably have to wait till like the start of 2025, my guess. Yeah, probably the start of 2025. So like next episode, which is okay. Okay, let's see what this team is capable of. We'll go 1 month at a time. So let's go to the end of October to Halloween and see how we do in our first month of action. So far, a little bit back and forth, more than I like. 2 and 4. That's kind of weird. We shouldn't be 2 and 4. Are we going to be able to get ourselves back to 500 as Kevin Klein has gone down with a concussion to December the 4th? Damn. I literally brought this guy in the offseason to help out our defensive core, and he gets injured with a concussion. That sucks. In our first month, 5-6-1, so at least we're still around 500, but that's not a very great start for this team. St. Louis is doing well, though, almost point per game. A little bit of a slow start, but I think after 1 more month, we should find ourselves a little bit higher in the standings, hopefully. The Thrashers are currently killing it, which is a bit scary. Also, the Panthers are up there. Hurricanes, Caps are just above us. Literally, like, there's barely any points separating us in first place still. So, anything can happen. let's go another month and see what happens in the month of November. See if we could string together a good winning streak or something like that. Still a little bit inconsistent. I don't like that. Why are we playing so bad? Holy crap. Okay, and now Matt Niskanen's been injured with a mild concussion. That's 2 defensive injuries. Why is this team doing so bad? Holy crap, man. 7, 12, and 3. That's why I didn't give up our first round pick this year. I mean, we're kind of sliding quite a bit, but do we need to make some line adjustments? Let's do some line adjustments just for something. Let's swap St. Louis and Giunta. I don't want to play St. Louis as a second liner, but we just got to find something that works for now. Because even though this team has been doing decent and it looks like on the offensive front, it seems like goaltending might be a bit of an issue at the moment. I don't really know. But let's continue to simulate and see if we could get back closer to 500 again. There's a loss again. Another loss. Holy crap, man. I get that we had some defensive injuries, but that is kind of ridiculous. Niskanen is back, and also we got Kevin Klein back. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Kind of ridiculous that we're not playing that good. We might need to make a coaching change. 7, 15, and 3. Yeah, we need to make a coaching change, I think. I didn't even take a look and see how good this coach is with us, but 68, you'd think he would be better than that then. Why is he doing so bad with our team? Is there anything better than a 68 out there? Or no? 50, no. There's nothing really better than a 68 out there, so I don't think the coach is the problem. This is a really weird start. Because we are kind of digging ourselves in a major hole here. We're 1-7-2 in our last 10 games. And if we don't make the playoffs in our final season, that is not going to look great. I mean, we will have another season after this if we miss the playoffs, but it's like this team is actually trying to actively tank to get Kucherov in the draft, which doesn't make sense because our roster looks pretty damn good on paper. Let's move Ryan Malone to the second line and Gianna to the third line. I don't really know what the problem is, so hopefully we could find a way to address that. There we go. Let's go something like this. Sure. That works for me. Gotta find something because this team is, like I said, digging themselves in a hole. We are now 13 points back at the top place in our division. And we're also like way back of the Hurricanes who have 3 games less played than us. So we need to start winning and we need to start doing it now because if we don't, we are going to miss the playoffs. Let's go another 2 weeks. See if we could actually string together some wins here. Kevin Klein's back to full health, but he's already in, which is good. Let's see, how are we going to do in these 2 weeks? There's the team I knew about. There's the team. 5 straight wins. We are now 12, 16, and 3. Trying to get ourselves back into that hunt, it looks like. Let's go another week. We got 4 more games. There's another win, an OT loss, which is still a point. A loss to Atlanta, who's really good. And Carolina, another loss. Yikes. Yeah, we're still in a bad spot because we keep losing against divisional opponents. 30 points in 35 games. How are we looking in terms of the actual standings? Actually, let's go to the other 6 games still so we could actually know for sure that we're at the halfway point. But this isn't looking good so far unless this team has a resurgence in the second half. There's 2 wins out of 3. That's just good. So we still have another 3 games to go. Let's do these 3 games. And then we should be at the exact halfway point of the season as Tanguay has been injured with strained hamstring. He's only out for till the 12th, but damn it, man. I hate these damn injuries. There's another 2 out of 3. So 17, 20, and 4 at the halfway point, which has us above the Caps, but 5 less games played, which is massive. So we won't really have to worry about Washington too much. I mean, we still could, but that's at least good. We're 5 points back of the Panthers. And then we are 9 points back of the Hurricanes and quite a ways back of the Thrashers. Who's the best team in the league right now? Best team in the NHL is the Minnesota Wild at 50 points, it looks like. But let's take a look at where we're sitting in terms of the Eastern Conference and stuff at the moment, because I don't really know if we're in the playoff hunt or not, because we'll get a better picture of where we are right now. So the last playoff spot has 49 points at the moment in 41 games. We are currently on the outside by quite a margin. Yeah, we're 11 points back. Yikes. So the question remains now, do we just say, hey, we throw in the towel and say we're not making the playoffs this season and do one more season after this? Or do we try and get our team to get into that last playoff spot? Because we have a hill to climb. Like, we're 5 points back of the Panthers. And then after that, there's a giant war for that last playoff spot. A giant war. The good thing that for us, at least, Philadelphia's played way more games. Some of these other teams have only played one more game than us, but they're still almost like 10 points up on us. So I almost don't think we can make the playoffs, but it's going to be interesting to figure that out if we should do that or not. So I need to leave that up to you guys on that front. We're not scoring enough goals. We're one of the worst offensive teams in the East, and we are one of the worst defensive teams in the East. Why is our team not doing so well? Our power play is okay. It's like mid-table in the East, but still, that's not great. And our penalty kill is also not doing too well. Yeah, I don't really know why this team's not doing that good. That's not great. Let me just take a look at the entire league right now. Who's the best team in terms of points? Yeah, Minnesota. Then Detroit, the Rangers, Toronto, and Atlanta. The emergence of Atlanta has set us back quite a bit, I think. I don't know why this team is not doing this well, though. We have all the talent in the world, but it's not doing enough. And Stamkos is still doing bad. Oh, man. This is frustrating. Very frustrating. LeCavalier, once again, having a pretty good season offensively. But, yeah, Stamkos is only on pace for 44 points this year, which is the exact same totals as last year, when he had much better line mates, when he had Tanguay next to him. Goddamn, man. Gotch has been okay as our third liner, but minus 10 is not ideal. Pullout's been good as a depth option. Prospel's been solid, but he's on regression mode. Ryan Malone's been not great. I mean, he's been okay, but minus 10 is not ideal. Tanguay's got 25 points. He's been really solid, but minus 21. My God. Pettinger's been okay as a fourth liner. St. Louis has been solid. Gianna's been Yeah, I'm not really liking the second line's performance. Tanguay, Gianta, and Stamkos. I thought that would be a great second line, but apparently not. Gobeski's been okay. Downey's been solid too. Adam Hall's been solid. Carson's has been okay. But it seems like our second line just never finds a way. And then Andre Mazzaros' offense has declined completely, which is realistic, actually. But look, 62 points to 48, and he's only on pace for 36 this year. And Foster, 12 points. Krejcik, 10. Niskanen, only 8. Klein, 5 points. Vainen, 4. Party, 2. I don't like the plus-minus on a lot of players on this team. Yikes. Craig Anderson has been the better of the two goalies, but both goaltenders haven't been ideal, I would say. That's not good. That's not good. We might miss the playoffs this season, which means we might have to tank for Kucherov, and then next year we might have a new-looking team for the final season, but we'll see. Best player right now in the league is Marian Gaborik with 65 points. He already hits 43 goals in 42 games. Insane. Marian Hossa right behind him on the Islanders. Kovalchuk's up there. Datsuk. In case you guys wanted to look at the points. And Sergei Gonchar is not doing as good in San Jose apparently, but he's still doing pretty solid. Brian Campbell's up there right now. Spotcheck's up there. Wasn't expecting that. And best goaltender so far this year has been one Nicholas Backstrom. Henrik Lundqvist as well actually has been up there, but he's currently injured, which is not ideal for the Rangers. But yeah, Backstrom's probably going to win the Vezina if he keeps on that pace. And best rookie right now this season is Taylor Hall, as expected. Nokalainen's a rookie this year. That's kind of weird. Guess he hadn't been played yet. Mark Stone's playing already, which is a bit weird, but okay. So there is the rookies. Victor Hedman's now considered a rookie too. So there is that. And final few things. Let's take a look at the trading block and the draft class stuff again. contract situation, but honestly, I don't know if this team has it in them to make the playoffs. Like, we might have to trade away some players. But yeah, Kucherov is a franchise player, so if somehow we get the first overall pick this year, we could get Nikita Kucherov, which would be absolutely insane for this team. Or we could like get a nice consolation prize as a Landeskog, a Goudreau, a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, a Zibanejad, a Huberdeau, a Scheifele even, Dougie Hamilton. But I don't know what this team needs. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate for sure. Let's take a look at the contract situation as well again. Because with St. Louis being a pending free agent, do we trade him? I want to hold on to him until he retires, kind of, because he's a legend on this team. But it might have to happen. Stamkos is going to be relatively cheap to bring back, but we also have like Brian Gionta, who's a pending free agent. He could get dealt. Curtis Foster could get dealt. Like, a lot of these guys probably could get dealt if we want to tank the rest of the year, but we might make ourselves too bad, and we might miss the playoffs in our final season next year if we end up doing that route. Like, both of our goalies are also pending free agents, so we have a lot of assets to trade away. But at the same time, is it the right time to make that type of thing? Let's take a look at the trade block, and then that'll be it. Is there anything intriguing on the block that could potentially change the direction of this team? Tyler Seguin is on the block by Anaheim. They literally just drafted him 2nd overall, yet they want to trade him away. He's not even playing in the NHL right now. See, something like that would be intriguing if we had the assets to move to get somebody like Seguin, and then last year we have like Seguin, Stamkos, but it probably wouldn't get us into a playoff spot. If we're looking for a new goaltender, though, Atlanta's trying to get rid of Pavelec, which is kind of weird considering they're actually a really good team this year. But yeah, I think we're running out of time to actually get ourselves that Stanley Cup. I thought this team would have been much better this season. We could obviously still make a coaching change, but I honestly didn't see anybody better scheme fit wise. So I'll still look through this trading block anyways. If there's anybody that maybe could help us out next season, like Jonathan Toews is holding out this entire year in Chicago apparently, which is kind of funny. Because he's an RFA still in January. Yes, Chicago doesn't have the cap space, but there is a lot of good players out there. But at the same time, will bringing somebody like these guys in, help out our team, or will we just miss the playoffs and give up assets that we don't need to? Like, watch that medium elite defenseman's going to be ready next season. Jaro Halak's on the block. See, there's some good goaltenders for sure, and good players to bring in, but will they actually make the impact that we want them to make on this team? Yeah, there is a lot of forwards on the block, a lot of defenders, a lot of goalies that are actually good players. So we might be able to bring in some good players, but I don't know who I want to move away to get like this team better. Like, do we get rid of Ryan Malone, who's one of our best goal scorers this season, to bring in somebody like, I don't know, Scott Hartnell, or somebody like, I don't know, Chris Pronger's in Arizona? That's actually kind of hilarious because I think his contract was there at one point. But yeah, there's a lot of good players out there. Just I don't really know if they're actually going to change this team's complexion or not. Like, the draft would maybe be better, but at the same time, we don't know if this team, if we're going to have even like another full season after this. It depends if we actually make the playoffs or not, which isn't looking likely. So we probably will have at least one more season left of this, but yeah, there is the trading block, and I think that is pretty much it. Let me actually go to progress reports for a second. Is Stamkos even developing? Let me see. No. Stamkos is a major bust at this point. I mean, he's an 87 at 20, which is great, but he's not producing like one. Not really getting any growth other than his endurance. So that's not ideal. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Tampa Bay Lightning Throwback 2009 franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll make a very tough decision if we want to just keep root with this and see if this team makes the playoffs somehow, or we blow up a part of this team and tank technically for Kucherov for the season, and then hopefully next year for the final season we're better. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.